Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to discuss about Git Stash. So what is Git Stash? When to use Git Stash? So Git Stash is nothing but a temporary storage in our Git. Suppose you are working on something in between you got some ticket. So you need to switch the branch and you have to make some modification. That time whatever you make the changes that should be saved in somewhere. So without committing. So that time we are using Git Stash. Let me get into the demo. So currently I am into the master branch. So I let me switch to the develop branch. Currently I have two branches. So let me switch to the develop branch, git checkout, develop. So I'm working on develop branch. Let me make some modification on develop branch. Git vi abcd.txt. Git stash is temporary storage. Something I have make modifications. So if I check git status now, this is modified file. So I don't need to commit this change. So still I have some development work on this develop branch. So meanwhile I got some issue. So that time I need to switch the branch. So if you try to switch the branch, so some it will be asked to commit these changes. So suppose if you try to make switch the branch, git checkout, master. So it will ask your changes are local changes would be overridden by checkout. So it doesn't allow. So please use your changes git stash before switch the branch. So now I need to use the git stash. So git stash. If you use git stash, it will be stashed your changes. So later you can save. Later you can switch the branch. So if you do git stash, it will be created one stash ID. Okay, on the latest commit ID. So on the develop branch, if you check git stash list, so it will be show you the list of stash. So this is the ID on the latest one. So it is saying like work in progress and develop. So it will be created some commit ID on the latest one. So if you check git status now, it should be nothing is committed. So working tree is clean. But my changes are still it should be saved in some temporary location. So now you can switch the master branch, git checkout, master. So if you get any changes, you just need to update it on the master branch, git checkout. Some fixes you need to do on master branch or hard fix branch, anything. So you just need make the changes. So I just need to update something. On readme file I have added. If you check git status, readme file I have updated. I'm committing this change. Changes are done in readme. So I have committed. So later I need to switch to the develop branch, git checkout, develop. So again I have need to continue my development work. So that time if you see the status git stash list. Okay. Now there is one stash. To apply this one, if you use pop command, it will be back the changes and it should be deleted this stash ID. So if you do git stash pop, so again your changes will be restored. Whatever you have modified the change, that should be under modified state. Okay, it should be dropped from your stash to your working area. Okay. Now if you check Git stash list, there is nothing stashes. Like this, you have to save your changes. Now, if you need to do again, you make modifications. Okay. Again, if you wanted to apply Git stash. So previously we didn't give anything. Directly, we gave Git stash. So whatever the modifications are there, that should be created some working commit ID. It should be working in progress and develop branch. Something it should be coming default ID. So I don't want that one. I need to make some relevant to my message git save. So you need to give your message, your own convenient message to understand what you are making the changes, what is the pending, and what you are going to do. So what I need to do, mm, I have updated ABCD file, still in progress. So instead of if you check now git stash list, it should be our own message on develop branch. This is the stash ID, index of stash 0. So if you try to create one more stash, this will be latest should be 0 and this should be 1. So now if you check now git stash, git the status, nothing should be committed, working tree is clean. Now again I need to make some modification on other file. So I need to create one more stash. Echo, I'm inserting some data on readme file, updated stash commits in readme. Something I am inserting the data into the readme file. Now if you check git status, the file is modified. So again I need to create one more stash. Git stash list, sorry, git stash save. So I'm giving my own message, something updated in readme. Now this change also it should be saved in temporary location. Git stash list, it should be. Now this one is on develop branch. So previous one I have updated ABC in. So previous message latest should be on 0 and previous one should be 1. If you created one more, the 0 will be latest and 1 will be the previous one. Like this it should be created the list of stash IDs. So now previously what we do to get that latest one, if you give um, git stash top right, pop right, so it will be getting the latest change, it will be reflected. So what we need to do, git stash pop, if you do, so latest should be the something I have updated readme, this will be dropped to the working area. See now if you check git status stash list, the one the previously we have, right, that should be still it is there, only latest one it should be dropped to working area. Again if I do git stash save, okay, now we have two stashes. So instead of pop, if I apply, right, git stash apply, if you give the, if you didn't give anything, the latest one it should be pick in the working area, but still you have in the list also. Okay, the still it is showing in the list. So if you want to give if you want to apply particular stash message, so you wanted to apply this one instead of the previous one. So you just need to provide the stash ID. Now both should be there. If you apply that one, okay, if still you have two stash ID, if you use apply, it should be there in the temporary location, means in the temporary location on the git, the changes also should be applied. If you give pub, it is applied, it is dropped from the temporary location, git temporary location stash area. Okay, Now whatever if you want, you can apply that change. Now git commit -m. I'm committed into the local repository. Changes are updated. Sorry, git add, git commit, changes are updated. Now if you check git status, your working tree is clean. If you check git stash list, your changes still should be there. Okay. If you want to delete this stash ID, okay. If you want to delete a stash, before delete, if you want to see the uh, sh- changes of this stash ID, git stash show -p and the stash ID. If we give, it will show you the what changes we have done. It is having that it is added updated stash commit ID. If you want to see the old one, readme, it is having temporary storage. Okay, commit ID, everything it should be stored. If you didn't give anything, git to show -p, the latest one it should be pick. Means stash 0 is the latest one, it will be displayed that one. The file name, okay, it will be shown. Now, if you want to delete that stash ID, so git the stash drop. If you didn't give anything, it should be deleted the latest one. Stash 0 should be deleted. Now latest should be only one. Git stash list, it should be deleted. If you want to delete it all at a time, suppose I have three or four or n number of, you need to delete at a time. So command is git stash clear. If you give, it should be clear all the stashes. Now nothing is there in my stash list. Like this, we need to use git stash command. Okay, if now see, git stash will be display the create a new stash ID. If you want to give the name of the particular stash, you just need to give git stash save and message the name if you want to. If you want to see the list of stashes, git stash list. So it will be displayed the all the stashes. To retrieve the recent stash into the branch to use. So git stash pop. After getting stash data, remove automatically until unless there is no conflicts. Okay. If you apply the particular stash, git stash apply and the stash ID. To delete particular stash, git stash drop and stash ID. To clear the complete stash details, git stash clear. If you give that one, it should be completely deleted. To check the changes and the stash data before pulling. Okay. So git stash show -p. This command we have seen. The latest one it should be displayed. To delete particular stash, git stash drop and stash ID. To clear complete stash details, git stash clear. If you give, it will be clear all this one. If you create a new branch with stashed data, so what I wanted to do here, so let me create some change. Echo git stash will store data in temporary location. Now I made update. Sorry, I need to save it in abcd.txt. If you see abcd.txt file, this latest line should be modified. This file have modified. If you check git status, now it is modified. Now if you trying to switch the branch, it is not allow. Okay, if you try to check out git checkout -b branch is some future branch. So new branch it should be allowed, but future branch it should be allowing. I wanted to stash data also. Git checkout develop branch. I need to go to develop branch. Git status. This is modified files. If you try to switch git checkout master, so it doesn't allow. The changes are there. So you just need to use stash command. Now what I need to do? I need to use git stash and save. I'm giving my own message like ABCD changes need to be available on new branch. New branch. Now if you check git stash list, it should be one branch. ABCD changes should be available. Now this change I need this stash I need to be available on the created new branch. Now git checkout the branch name is future branch. The command is this one. Git checkout sorry git stash branch git stash hyphen b branch is future and the stash 0 git stash branch sorry git stash branch name is future and the stash id future is already there. Oh, sorry future x or future y. So I'm into the future y branch and this one is dropped to future future x. If you check now git stash list, so the changes should be available into the future x future y branch. Cat abcd dot txt this change will available on this one. So if you check git status the changes it should be there. So if you want you can commit or you can create a stash from this future y branch also. Git stash save. If you give save saved in future y branch. Now in this branch everything it should be clean, no local changes to be saved. Stash list, so this will be available. If you use the pop command it will be dropped from stage area and list also should be deleted. If you use apply the changes should be applied but still it should be under um stage area stash area only. No, I use this time pop command. Now if you check git stash list nothing will be there. So if you want to come if you want to add the changes to you can use and git commit hyphen m changes are added stage local areas local repo. So your working tree is clean git status. So like this we need to use git stash command. So stash means like a temporary location your changes should be there before committing the changes whether it is working area or staging area. Okay, so if you want to switch another branch whatever the changes it will be worked till now, so you need to store somewhere that time you need to use git stash command. So that's all about in this git stash. Thanks for watching. Bye.